Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you like this type of content, share and subscribe as I am new to YouTube. This will help me through the algorithm to help push my videos to more viewers. By the title you see, today I will be talking about Macklemore. Now you know how I like to start off from their beginnings. Now, born Benjamin Hammond Haggerty on June 19th, 1983. This currently makes him 39. Born to parents Bill and Julie Haggerty, along with his brother Tim, and they lived in Seattle, Washington. At the age of 6, Macklemore started listening to a lot of underground hip hop. Macklemore also attended Nathan Hale High School, where he developed the stage name Professor Macklemore for an art project involving a made-up superhero. He started a hip-hop group named Elevated Elements with some other students. In 2001, the group released their debut album called Progress. It was not a smash hit, but they did see some success. This caused Macklemore to release his own solo mixtape called Open Your Eyes later that same year and dropped The Professor from his stage name. On January 2005, Macklemore released his first studio album called The Language of My World independently. Unfortunately, this album did not chart. Sadly, in 2008, Macklemore admitted himself into drug rehab. He was just 25 years old. He stated it was for pills and alcohol, as he had a really bad and almost deadly addiction to opioids, among other pills, and even a heroin addiction. Thankfully, his dad spent $12,000 to put him through rehab for 30 days. In an interview with the People's Party's podcast with Tavli Kwabli, he stated that he might not be here today if it had not been for his father paying for his rehab. He also told the People's Party podcast that is when he met Ryan Lewis, which was back in 2006. Ryan, who was at the time just 17, was a DJ, producer, photographer, director, songwriter, and rapper. Now, to talk a little bit about Ryan Lewis, he was born on March 25th, 1998 in Spokane, Washington, and was raised in Seattle, Washington. Macklemore went on to say that him and Ryan met because he liked one of Ryan's beats that he heard off of MySpace. Macklemore hit him up shortly after. Macklemore realized once they met that Ryan was a pretty chill dude, and the two quickly became friends as they found out through talking that they had a lot in common. Soon after, Ryan became Macklemore's behind-the-scenes partner, producing, recording, engineering, and mixing all of their music, as well as directing their music videos and designing their promotional graphics. The duo released their first of 2 EPs together independently. First one was called The Verses EP back in December of 2009, and then later followed up with Verse Redux in March of 2010. In February of 2011, the duo went on a multi-city tour, only in Seattle, Washington, though. Sadly, this is when Macklemore ended up relapsing again during tour. He stated with the grueling schedule, he had fell off the wagon, but got back sober shortly after. Now, in October of 2012, Macklemore released his second studio album and Ryan's first, independently, called The Heist. This was 7 years after Macklemore released his first solo debut album. The album The Heist peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Top 200 albums charts and has since went 3 times platinum. Most in part to their first single called Thrift Shop, which would become one of the biggest tracks of the decade. Macklemore and Ryan went on to win 2 Grammys, one for Best New Artist and another for Best Rap Album. The crazy part is that people were very upset that a white rapper that was talking about buying clothes from a thrift shop beat Kendrick Lamar, whose album had already was considered a classic, Good Kid, Mad City, and well more diverse as he is more of a conscious rapper. This prompted Macklemore to issue a apology text to Kendrick saying that he should have won the Grammy, but that actually blew up in his face as they felt like if you won, then you should be proud. And even Drake commented saying, hey, even if you felt like you didn't deserve it, work harder. Don't apologize, which is true. Now, in January of 2013, after dating his longtime girlfriend, Tish Davis, a music producer and tour manager for over 7 years, he finally proposed. Finally put a ring on it. Now, the two met on social media. Unfortunately, in 2014, Macklemore relapsed again by using sleeping pills as he was doing so many daily shows. He had felt burnt out and stressed and just wanted to escape, he told Hip Hop Magazine Complex. Now, once he found out that his fiance at the time, now wife, Tish Davis, was pregnant, he decided to get sober again, and he did it. Now, in January of 2015, he announced on Twitter that him and Tish were expecting their first child. And on May 29th, they had their first child, a daughter named Sloane Ava Simone Haggerty. Then the two ended up getting married June 27th of 2015. Then he officially put a ring on it. In February of 2016, Macklemore released his highly anticipated third studio album and Ryan's second, again independently. This was called This Unruly Mess I've Made. This was after a 3-year hiatus from their first album together. Now, the album peaked at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard Top 200's albums chart, number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Top R&B and Hip Hop albums chart, and ended up going gold. Now, despite the larger budget, the album didn't do nearly as good as The Heist, as it only ended up going gold, as I mentioned earlier. Now, this caused people to speculate and rumors to swirl that Macklemore and Ryan were on the outs with each other. So soon after, Macklemore confirmed it. Macklemore confirmed that him and Ryan were no longer working together and the two were ready to go their separate ways. With Macklemore saying on Sway in the Morning that the two agreed that some creative space would be beneficial for both of them. In June of 2017, Macklemore released his 4th studio album called Gemini. The album peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Top 200's albums chart and also ended up going gold. Now, in September of 2017, Macklemore and his now wife announced that they were expecting their second child. On March 16, 2018, the couple had their second child, another daughter. Her name is Colette Cola Haggerty. Macklemore then went back on tour on June of 2018 to promote his Gemini album. Afterwards, Macklemore's musical output would trickle to a complete stop. Macklemore stated in an interview with Dax Shepard that he had relapsed when COVID-19 first hit after 3.5 years of sobriety. He went on to say because him being inside, not being able to do what he normally loves, again, he went to his old habits. Thank goodness it only lasted just a couple of weeks before he got back sober again. On July 30th, 2021, the couple, Macklemore and Tish, had their third child, their first son, named Hugo Jack Haggerty. Today, Macklemore says he is now only addicted to playing golf and now currently lives in the Seattle area with his family, wife of 7 years now, daughters Sloane, who is now 7, Colette, who is now 5, and we can't forget about his son Hugo, who is currently 1.